starting out as an influential mom whose parenting advice was admired by many. Ruby Franke's YouTube journey began on a high note. However, it took a disastrous turn, culminating in her being sentenced to at least 4 years in prison for child abuse. What led to this downfall for Ruby Franke and her family? Welcome to Crime Scene Archives. In today's video, we delve into one of the most harrowing cases of child abuse encountered by law enforcement. But before we delve into the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated on our latest investigations. Now, let's explore the details and implications of this disturbing case together. Warning: this video contains graphic content related to crime scenes. It is intended for educational purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. In the early hours of a late August day in Utah, a 12-year-old boy, visibly marked with open wounds, sought help at a neighbor's home, asking for food and water. Moments earlier, he had escaped from a nearby house by climbing out of a window, still bearing remnants of duct tape around his ankles, according to police reports. The boy was promptly taken to the hospital, where it was discovered that he was suffering from malnourishment and deep lacerations caused by being tied up with rope, as outlined in the arrest record. As a result of this incident, 4 children were removed from the household, leading to the arrest of Franke, a parenting influencer and mother of 6. On Tuesday, February 20th, 2024, 42-year-old Franke, visibly emotional, offered a tearful apology in court upon hearing her sentence, expressing, "I was so disoriented that I believed dark was light and right was wrong." Earlier, she had admitted guilt to charges of starving and abusing her children. Accompanying her in court was her former business partner, Jody Hildebrandt, 54, who received an identical sentence. Both women were handed 4 terms of 1 to 15 years each behind bars. How did it all unravel for someone who once shared parenting wisdom with a substantial audience of 2 million YouTube subscribers? For many, Franke's arrest didn't come as a shock, considering the numerous videos spanning several years that had drawn criticism for her strict approach to parenting. She was the driving force behind the 8 Passengers YouTube channel, which made its debut in 2015, riding the wave of popularity enjoyed by various family vlogging channels during that time, a genre that had become quite lucrative on the platform. Within a year, her videos had amassed tens of thousands of views. Franke mentioned to local news outlets that recording her family helped her stay present and simply enjoy the kids. Her edited videos provided a glimpse into her daily life, showcasing the routines of a typical Mormon suburban family engaged in homeschooling, cooking, dining, and engaging in conversations together. In one of her videos, Franke could be observed warning her sons that they would forfeit the privilege of having dinner if they persisted in roughhousing.
You are? Okay, Russell.
I'm only going to say it one more time, and then you're going to lose the privilege to eat dinner.
Another clip captured her stating that her 6-year-old deserved to go hungry after forgetting her lunch at school. Hopefully nobody offers her food and nobody intervenes to give her lunch, because then she won't learn, she remarked to the camera. Her now estranged husband, Kevin Franke, later commented that they were attempting to instill a sense of responsibility in their children, teaching them to be masters of themselves. Despite facing criticism, the Frankes remained steadfast in their authoritarian parenting style, and their audience continued to grow. Experts suggest that Franke's success mirrors a contemporary parental anxiety that can drive individuals to seek out extreme and harmful solutions. For parents who feel lost and desperate, especially when confronted with challenging behavior, extreme methods can become alluring, especially if they appear to yield results. noted parenting psychologist Dr. Mary Ann Baker in an interview with the BBC. Franke's parenting style garnered attention from a broader audience beyond the family vlogging community due to an impromptu remark made by her teenage son. In a video from 2020, he disclosed that his bedroom had been revoked for 7 months as a consequence of playing pranks on his sibling, leaving him to sleep on a beanbag instead. Franke clarified in the same video that her son had demonstrated an inability to responsibly manage his bedroom, and as alternatives, he was offered accommodations such as a guest bed or an inflatable mattress. The tone of their conversation appeared lighthearted, with Franke and her other child sharing giggles over the incident. However, many viewers found the situation unsettling. A petition initiated by one individual demanding an investigation garnered thousands of signatures, prompting calls to Child Protective Services. The public outcry led to numerous YouTube and TikTok users creating their own videos about the family, which quickly garnered millions of views. Older clips resurfaced, particularly those depicting Franke discussing withholding meals as a disciplinary measure, attracting widespread attention in the media. In response to the controversy, Ruby and Kevin Franke spoke to the news website Insider, expressing their belief that certain accounts had malicious intentions and deliberately took clips out of context. They were purely seeking to spread hate. That was their sole objective. A reasonable person wouldn't watch that video and conclude, "She is a child abuser," Ruby Franke remarked to the site. Kevin Franke's attorney Randy Kester later clarified that his client was not involved in the abuse allegations. "He is a decent individual," Kester stated on Good Morning America, emphasizing that the Frankes had been residing in a separate residence for the past 13 months. Subsequently, Kevin Franke filed for divorce from his wife and advocated for the maximum sentence to be imposed on her, condemning the abuse endured by their children as horrific and inhumane. The controversy effectively signaled the beginning of the end for the 8 Passengers YouTube channel. Daily uploads dwindled to just 2 or 3 per week, eventually ceasing altogether before the channel was ultimately deleted. However, Franke remained active on social media, launching a new advice channel in June 2022, named Connections with Hildebrand, her business partner and counselor. Despite their efforts, the content they produced together garnered only a fraction of the audience that 8 Passengers once had at its peak. Franke previously asserted that this venture had helped her amass millions. She stated that she departed from this lucrative realm in order to protect her children. Recent posts on an Instagram account shared by the duo named Moms of Truth provide parenting advice, encouraging followers to refrain from utilizing coping strategies to distract themselves from the pain and discomfort of reality and truth. While it remains unclear what this reality or truth entails, the coping strategy listed includes social media usage, exercise, and socializing. On August 30th, the 2 women were taken into custody after Franke's malnourished son managed to escape. Within days, they faced charges of 6 accounts of child abuse. "Justice is finally being served," stated Franke's eldest daughter on Instagram, revealing that she had been attempting to alert authorities and child protection services about her estranged family for years. Her sisters echoed this sentiment in a joint statement, asserting that Franke's arrest was long overdue, mentioning that they had previously remained silent for the sake of the children involved. According to Franke's sister and estranged daughter, Franke's children are now in a safe environment. However, they emphasized that the journey to recovery would be lengthy. Ruby Franke, after pleading guilty to aggravated child abuse involving 2 of her children, was sentenced to 4 consecutive terms of 1 to 15 years in prison on February 20, 2024. The duration of Franke's incarceration will be determined by the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole. In December, both Franke and her former business partner, Connections Classroom founder Jody Hildebrand, pleaded guilty to 4 counts of child abuse in Washington County 5th District Court in Utah. Hildebrand received an identical sentence of 4 consecutive terms of 1 to 15 years following Franke. As per their plea agreements, Franke and Hildebrandt acknowledged their involvement in inflicting or allowing serious physical injuries upon Franke's children between May and August 2023. The two women were apprehended on August 30 after Franke's 12-year-old son, who had been residing at Hildebrandt's residence, managed to escape by climbing out of a window. He then ran to a neighbor's house and disclosed that he had been subjected to abuse. During her statement in court, Hildebrandt expressed, "I genuinely care for these children. I wish for them to emotionally heal. One of the reasons I opted not to go to trial is because I didn't want them to relive emotionally damaging experiences." According to the plea agreement, Franke's son endured physical torture and was compelled to perform strenuous tasks for hours and days on end. He was coerced into engaging in outdoor labor without footwear in the summer heat, enduring direct sunlight exposure for multiple days, which resulted in repeated and severe sunburns with blistering and skin peeling, as outlined in the agreement. The plea agreement disclosed that the child was deprived of adequate water for several days while being compelled to endure the heat, and he faced punishment when he attempted to hydrate himself covertly. Additionally, he was not provided with enough food as stated in the agreement. Following his escape attempt, the child experienced regular binding of his hands and feet, frequently employing 2 sets of handcuffs for his wrists and ankles, according to the plea agreement. Furthermore, ropes were occasionally utilized to connect the 2 sets of handcuffs, resulting in his arms and lower legs being elevated off the ground. The plea agreement revealed that the bindings inflicted injuries to the child's wrists and ankles, resulting in cuts through the skin and damage to muscle and tissue. According to the agreement, these injuries were treated with homeopathic remedies and then covered with duct tape, before the child was subsequently bound again over the duct tape. Franke and another adult attempted to persuade the boy that he was evil and possessed, emphasizing that he needed to comply willingly to avoid punishments. They asserted that these punishments were necessary for repentance, as outlined in the plea. Another child underwent similar treatment, being compelled to work outside in the heat without footwear, running on dirt roads for an extended duration. According to the Washington County Attorney's Officer, 2 additional charges against Franke were dismissed. She agreed to serve consecutive sentences as outlined in her plea agreement. Ruby Franke is committed to accepting responsibility for the harm she has inflicted upon her children and her family as a whole. By pleading guilty and acknowledging the consequences, she acknowledges her role in the situation and takes a step towards being accountable for her actions, stated Franke's attorneys in a statement. Prosecutor Eric Clark, speaking to reporters after the sentencing, expressed his hope that Hildebrandt would receive a longer sentence than Franke. Clark noted that Franke appears to recognize the wrongdoing in her abusive actions and has taken accountability for them. However, he mentioned concerns about Hildebrandt's lack of remorse, citing statements she made during jail calls. At the end of the day, this case revolves around religious extremism, and I think Mrs. Franke's statement touched upon that. Both individuals ventured into a dark path, with Miss Hildebrandt believing she was in a regular communication with God, and Miss Franke following the guidance she received from Miss Hildebrandt, stated Prosecutor Eric Clark to reporters. Clark emphasized that this case represents one of the most severe instances of child abuse their office has encountered. I'm extremely concerned that if Jody were to be released today, she would pose a significant risk of gathering followers, Clark stated. Ruby essentially followed Jody, and if she's able to attract people and persuade them to engage in this type of behavior, it poses a major risk. Hildebrandt's attorney asserted that her statement in court was genuinely heartfelt and that her previous remarks during calls with individuals who doubted her guilt do not reflect her current beliefs. She entered into the plea agreement to take responsibility for her actions in this case, Hildebrandt's attorney Doug Terry stated. Franke's attorney, Lamar Winward, expressed acceptance of the judge's verdict. We believe that justice has been served today, and Ruby is dedicated to changing her mindset and behavior during her time in prison. As we wrap up this episode, we want to thank you for joining us on this journey through the chilling case of Ruby Franke. Remember, the truth behind these tragic tales serves as a stark reminder of the importance of remaining vigilant in our communities. Before we go, if you haven't already, make sure to check out our previous video covering the mysterious case of Nikki Antzel, the woman who called 911 in a grim and horrific portrayal of her husband's ordeal. But as the investigation unfolds, the truth is yet to be revealed. We appreciate your support and interest in true crime stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Crime Scene Archives for more gripping tales of justice and mystery. Stay safe, stay vigilant.